If you're an American, your private data is already out there and it's for sale. Right now, anyone with a credit card can buy information like your address, old social media profiles, insurance policies, including the limits on your insurance, and so much more. In this video, I'll show you exactly why this is all legal and what you can do about it. But first, let's travel back in time to 1989. Rebecca Schaefer is at home in Burbank, California. At 19 years old, she's already been on the cover of 17 magazine and landed a starring role in a TV series. The doorbell rang and a man was standing outside. Rebecca didn't know it at the time, but the young man was Robert Bardo from Tucson, Arizona. Rebecca also didn't know that this was just Robert's latest trip out to Los Angeles. On his previous visit, Bardo had tried to find Rebecca on the Warner Brothers production lot, but security refused to let him in. So Robert hired a private investigator to find Rebecca's home address, and it only cost him $250. Just over $600 in today's money. And now that Robert was finally face to face with Rebecca, he pulled out a .357 Magnum and shot her in the chest. But what does this have to do with you and your privacy? In the wake of Robert's murder conviction, the federal government passed the Driver's Privacy Protection Act to supposedly protect DMV information. Before the DPPA was passed, supposedly 34 states would provide your name and address to anyone who walked into the DMV with your license plate and paid a small fee. But is our data actually any more private today? Not in my opinion. For example, Robert Bardo didn't know Rebecca Schaefer's license plate number. He simply hired a private investigator to look her up and find her home address. And it didn't cost him much money to do so. That can still happen even after the DPPA was passed, because the law still provides an exception to allow PIs to access personal information from the DMV. It's under exception B8. Quote, for use by any licensed private investigative agency or licensed security service for any purposes permitted under this subsection. So nothing in the DPPA would prevent a similar attack today. But the act does prohibit DMV from releasing our information from just some random person who walks in off the street and asks for it. I guess that's something. But is it? It's true that random people can't walk in to DMV and buy our personal information. But that doesn't mean that our data is actually safe. DMVs across the country are selling our information to giant data brokers every single day. One major culprit in the big data game is LexisNexis. Lawyers are intimately familiar with LexisNexis as a legal research service, but it's so much more. LexisNexis is in the court and statute data business, but it's also in the people data business. And business is good. In just the 2 years from 2021 to 2023, the Florida DMV made $293 million selling the data of Florida drivers. And LexisNexis accounts for about a third of that, $90 million to one company. Imagine how much data LexisNexis is buying across the country, 50 states. Probably over $1 billion of money they're spending to buy data. Now think about them being a business. They need to make money. So how much money are they taking in selling that data to other people to use against us? But you might be thinking, I don't have any legal troubles and I don't live in Florida. So how much data could LexisNexis have on me anyway? Well, it could be a lot, especially if you happen to drive a Chevy. This Reddit user requested his data from LexisNexis and found that they had trip-specific information from his Chevy, including the dates and times of specific trips, the miles traveled, hard braking events, fast acceleration events. It goes on. It's frightening. And the worst part, this user had opted out of the tracking in the My Chevrolet app. However, the fine print says that you also had to opt out of the tracking via the Chevrolet website as well. If you or a loved one owned or leased an OnStar-enabled GM vehicle since 2016 and have experienced increases in your insurance rates, it could have been because of driving data that was shared by LexisNexis, Verisk, OnStar, and/or GM. You might have a claim to sue. Call the best dang law firm ever for help. I joke, but this is real. Chevy is facing multiple lawsuits for violating the privacy of its customers, and they've already entered into an FTC settlement agreement to get the federal government off its back. But what can you do about your data? For starters, you can request a free copy of whatever data LexisNexis has on you. I'll put the link in the description on this video. And there's an option for Virginia residents to request that LexisNexis deletes your data. Other states may have similar different provisions. I didn't go through all the 50 states, so you should check for you to see what options your state may have when it comes to your data with LexisNexis. Will LexisNexis actually delete anything? I hope so. I requested my data to see what was in it, and I definitely checked the delete my data option. So we'll see in a little while. I'll do another request later on and see if anything is actually removed. About a week after requesting my LexisNexis data, I got a letter in the mail that includes a link and a security pin to download PDFs of my data from their website. Some of the data was what any credit bureau would already have: address information, job history, telephone numbers, etc. But the LexisNexis data goes even farther, containing old, long-forgotten social media profiles, lists of real estate you own, insurance policies you have, including what the limits are, so if somebody wants to sue you, they know how much insurance coverage you have. Over 750 pages of data on me. It even includes random products that I've searched for online, which might help explain one reason why the internet always knows what you're shopping for, sometimes even before you do. We'll see if LexisNexis actually deletes any of my data as I've requested. We sadly live in a world where privacy is almost non-existent, but we can all take small steps like finding out what information companies like Lexis have on us and making that delete request if that's an option in your state. But if a crazy person does get your home address and does come to your front door, what's the best way to protect yourself against them? Don't answer the door. And keep in mind that big dogs produce big barks that scare people away. To learn more about protecting your privacy, check out this next video about what to do if you find a GPS tracker on your car. And remember, don't talk to the police.